What's up, crypto junkies? It's Jay, and we're out here in the streets bringing you another training video on mindset. So in this video, I'm going to talk about one of the most basic things we could talk about, which is persistence, right? You got the pictures you can hang up on your wall. You got that old adage that, you know, you got to stay persistent. You got to just keep going. But I want to kind of riff on that with you for a second, and I hope you don't mind, and talk about like some of the realities of the art of persistence, right? Before you even get started, you really need to decide. You need to make the definitive decision on just how far you're willing to go. Like, where is your cutoff point? Where is your, I'm gonna walk away from this? And I think a lot of people don't do this in a wide array of areas in their life. So when somebody goes gambling, for example, they don't decide before they walk in, for the most part, hey, I'm gonna stop if I'm, 500 in a hole. If I'm 10,000 in a hole, I'm just gonna stop and walk away. And actually, because they don't set that stop loss, that almost mental stop loss, right? They just keep going, and then if they were to get as low as 10,000, well now, Jay, you don't understand, I gotta make up my gains. I gotta make up for my losses, so I gotta keep going. And you just keep like tumbling through this rabbit hole. And that's how you can quickly turn into, turn a small loss of maybe like $100 to $500 into a big loss. Tens of thousands of dollars. And this can go on over time. This isn't like a one-day thing, this is over time. So before we even get started, we need to ultimately decide, like, where's our walk away point? Where are we gonna just kind of walk away from this whole thing? And throw in a towel, reassess, maybe refine the idea and come back to it. And just by having that, it gives us so much power. Because if I know where my walk away point is, then I know how much effort I need to be putting in. And for me, especially when it comes to crypto, when it comes to success, most importantly, I don't have a walk away from point. I used to have like really thin walk away points. Like, oh, this new idea isn't working, I'm gonna just walk away. Now what I tend to do is like, I have this overall place I wanna go with, especially with my financial success. And this is the simplest place for us to start. So I've got this overall goal with my financial success that I want. It actually dovetails with me and like the personal goals I have for myself with my life. Like, I just wanna keep creating. And so I'm at the point in my life now to where I want to keep creating. I want to keep moving forward. I want to keep doing. So there is no start and stop point with like, this is a success, this is a failure. It really just keeps morphing, transitioning, pivoting, whatever fancy word you want to use. And I just kind of keep moving forward. And I know that with just moving forward on that goal, then my financial goals will be accomplished as well. So my main driving point isn't actually financial success. It's that I want to keep creating. I want to keep having fun. I want to keep loving deeply what I'm doing. And when that stops, then I need to start questioning things. But the depth of that, like, there is no give up point. There is no walk away point for me with that. So I tackle it from that way. And so my persistence in what I'm able to get done because of that is like everything. Like, I just keep going. And because I know that this is where I'm going, I want to keep creating, I want to keep having fun, and everything is coming from and mostly being created and generated from this place of love, from this place of like, I'm having truly a good time doing this. Like, it's very easy for me to just say, am I tired right now? Or can I keep going? And you can do this with, if you're not that deep in it yet, and you can't come up with that conclusion for yourself, like, a lot of it's driven by finances. A lot of it is away from that pain of the reality of having no money. So it's towards the pleasure of what financial freedom can create for all of us. And all of us are in this community because we want to create financial freedom through cryptocurrency for ourselves. So even just that driving factor, it's like, are you really tired? And the closer you are to the pain, the easier it is to make that conclusion, right? Like, I remember thinking back, and not to go too deep into it, but when I was living on the street, like, I was never tired. And I would be tired when I'd literally like be passing out, like falling over, passing out with like the laptop in my lap, or they're kicking me out of the Starbucks because I'm trying to like grind and hustle so much. So persistence is what kept me going, because I knew that like, there's nothing to sit back on really in that scenario. In my circumstances at that time, there was nothing to sit back on. So it was very easy to just say, oh yeah, I can keep going. I'm not really that tired right now. I'm not really that hungry. I can ignore the hunger pains. And so in that stage of my life and at that current place in time, it was really easy to say it. But I think the worst place to be and the hardest place to be is when you're starting to do okay and you're starting to pay for the bills and you're starting to kind of catch up. It becomes easier to be complacent because after all, hey, things are looking good. So that those lazy thoughts start to creep in more. And that's really the more challenging times. Like, I think it's actually easier to be in a really difficult position financially or in a really good one, because then the everyday decisions, the everyday resistance, that's not really there. Because it's either I'm pushing away from the pain so much, or I'm going towards, I'm already in the pleasure zone. So it's like, you know, yeah, of course. So I can have more fun with this. I can find more about this that I like and enjoy, right? Because I have enough money. I have all the money in the world, why would I care, right? So if we look at the two extremes, the most dangerous territory mental-wise and from a mindset standpoint is right in the middle. We're just doing good enough, we're just getting by, we're able to go out and eat and have some nice things, and we can go shopping when we want to, and oh, we just got a nice new house. So there's like this tipping point where you have to almost keep pulling from that scrappy, really rugged place of doing bad. You have to keep kind of pulling that energy into right now to push you over the tipping point to get to the other side. And there's a ton of people in the community right now that are just getting to that place. And so that's why I see them like kind of coming and going. So they'll go in a streak of being super, super persistent, you know, just keep going, keep grinding, kind of pulling from that pain, that past pain of their life, and then they'll disappear because they're starting to enjoy the pleasantries, enjoy the pleasure a little bit, right? And I'll see them come back and they're like, oh man, I kind of ran out of money, you know, I kind of spent too much, kind of went too crazy there. And so now the grind and the hustle comes back in them. You don't have to really make it that hard though and run it in waves. You can keep it more consistent by better defining that end goal, which is what the whole ethos of this conversation is. That's what we're talking about here, is that persistence becomes easier. So I don't have these up and down waves because I know where I'm going. Even with the financial end goal, if I'm very clear on that, and I'm very clear on where I want to be in the next 6 months, the next 12 months, the next 2 years, then the persistence and what's required of today becomes ultimately easier, right? Like you can start to challenge the inner dialogue much more. Am I tired right now? Have I really done enough? Am I really working hard? Like if I was working in a corporation right now, would I get some sort of an award, some sort of recognition in a newsletter by my boss, by my other, you know, the other people that I work with? Would I really be getting that right now? Or am I just pumping myself up in an attempt to kind of be lazy still? Challenge these inner conversations, challenge this inner dialogue to ensure that you actually do go and get what you want. You actually do make your dreams come true. And all of this might be sounding massively cliche, but the thing I will tell you that growing up as a kid, hearing about these things, reading the posters, Nike, just do it, and all the other cliches that exist that are probably really worn out at this point in time. But then I got into the real world, and then I realized that these things, they might sound cliche, they might be worn out, but when you're actually doing them, you can speak to the volume of truth that lies behind those words. And when you're not doing it, when you're stuck, when you're frustrated, when you're taking out your current emotions on somebody else or projecting your own issues onto something or someone else, those aren't as true. They're no longer as true because you're trying to come up with excuses. You're trying to come up with reasons why you can't, you shouldn't, you won't, it's not the right time, it's this, it's that. So be on the lookout from a mental dialogue standpoint of you trying to like cop out and mentally masturbate your way out of doing work today and moving forward today. The work never changes. We can though fall in love with the process, fall in love with the doing, fall in love with the reward, fall in love with every piece of what we've got to do to get to that end goal. That, my friends, is persistence. Doing what it takes every single day when the camera's off, when nobody's looking, when nobody cares. That's the most important thing you can focus on. That's it, my friends. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification so that you get an email when we upload new videos like this and when we go live, which is currently Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 9 a.m. Singapore time. We're constantly giving stuff away. Join a Discord chat and community because we're super hyper focused on that right now with our giveaways and with where our allocation of resources and time is going, because I want to grow that community. I want to grow this into one big ass crypto junkie family. And I invite you to join us. That's it for now. Be on the lookout for more training hitting your inbox very soon, my friends. See ya.